Officials must set a good example in observing the law. February 2nd, 2015. Main points of the speech at a study session on implementing the decisions of the fourth plenary session of the 18th CPC Central Committee and advancing the rule of law, attended by officials at the provincial ministerial level. Officials at all levels have an important responsibility for advancing the law-based governance of China. Though small in number, they constitute the key factor and must set a good example in upholding, studying, observing, and applying the law, driving the whole party and nation toward a socialist rule of law with Chinese features, and building China into a socialist country under the rule of law. Since the introduction of reform and opening up in 1978, and especially after the 15th CPC National Congress in 1997 prioritized law-based governance and building a socialist country under the rule of law, we have made considerable progress, and officials at various levels have played an important role. Nevertheless, some officials have a weak awareness of the rule of law. Problems such as laws being ignored or not being strictly enforced, and even bending the law for personal gain, have disrupted the political, economic, cultural, social, and ecological order. All officials should be alert and take action to correct and resolve such problems. The beliefs, determination, and actions of officials have a great significance in advancing the law-based governance of China. They should set a good example in upholding the law and holding the law with reverence, set a good example in studying, understanding, and having a good mastery of the law, set a good example in observing the law and defending the rule of law, and set a good example in applying the law and working in accordance with the law. Officials must strengthen the basic approach to the rule of law, that the Constitution and other laws should be put above all else, that everyone is equal before the law, and that power is prescribed by the law and exercised in accordance with the law. They must step up and fight against behavior that endangers, undermines, or damages the rule of law. We should improve their understanding of the rule of law as soon as they are appointed, strengthening relevant education, awareness, management, and supervision. Studying and understanding the rule of law is the prerequisite for observing and applying the law. We must systematically study the theory of Chinese socialist rule of law so as to hold a correct stance in addressing issues concerning the rule of law. The priority is to study the Constitution, along with other laws and regulations closely related to our leadership. Officials at all levels must understand, as prescribed by the law, what they should and should not do, examining their conscience against the law and disciplining their behavior by the law. Party committees at all levels should attach importance to training in the rule of law and improve mechanisms for studying the law. Officials must remain ever mindful not to cross or challenge the line of the law, set a good example in observing and enforcing the law, and create an environment of respect for the rule of law in which all of our people work in accordance with the law, look to the law when meeting difficulties, and rely on the law to resolve problems. We should plan our work, tackle issues, and discipline our words and deeds in accordance with the rule of law. They must turn their respect and reverence for the rule of law into thinking and conduct, making decisions, and acting under the rule of law. Party discipline and state laws must not become tokens, and any violation of discipline and laws must be punished. Principal party and government leaders should assume the main responsibility for the work of advancing the rule of law. Comprehensive efforts must be made to ensure that a well-conceived approach is taken to legislation, that law is strictly enforced, that justice is impartially administered, and that the law is observed by everyone. Appointing competent officials is the most important, fundamental, and effective measure. The mastery of the rule of law is a major component of officials' talent and integrity. We need to make legal compliance and working in accordance with the law important components of assessing officials' performance. We should design an evaluation system for officials' progress in advancing the rule of law and draw up provisions for making use of such evaluation results. We should implement the institutional arrangements put forward at the fourth plenary session of the 18th CPC Central Committee in 2014 and apply them as soon as possible. In advancing the rule of law, we must choose the right direction and create strong political guarantees. Party leadership is the fundamental guarantee for the socialist rule of law. Our path of Chinese socialist rule of law is a specific embodiment of upholding the rule of law. Our theory of Chinese socialist rule of law is a theoretical achievement in developing the rule of law. Our Chinese socialist rule of law system is a legal manifestation of building the Chinese socialist system. The CPC is the leadership core of China's socialist undertakings, exercising overall leadership and coordinating work in all areas. Socialist rule of law must uphold the party's leadership, while the party's leadership must rely on socialist rule of law. The law reflects both the party's thoughts and the people's will. The party leads the people in enacting and enforcing the Constitution and other laws. The party must confine its activities to the areas prescribed by the Constitution and other laws. All these embody the party's leadership strength. The party and the law. The party's leadership and the law-based governance of the country are highly consistent. We govern the country and exercise state power on the basis of the Constitution of the People's Republic of China. Every party and government organization and every official must obey and abide by the Constitution and other laws. No one may use the party's leadership as a pretext to override the law with their own arbitrary fiats, place their own power above the law, or bend the law for personal gain. Power is a double-edged sword. It benefits the people when exercised in accordance with the law, but endangers the country and the people when exercised outside the law. To confine the exercise of power to an institutional cage, we must designate, discipline, restrict, and supervise power in accordance with the law. In advancing the law-based governance of China, we must focus on safeguarding and promoting social fairness and justice. Social fairness and justice is a lofty goal of the CPC. In order to serve the people wholeheartedly, we must pursue fairness, uphold justice, and protect the people's rights and interests. Reform the judicial system. March 24th, 2015. Main points of the speech at the 21st Group Study Session of the Political Bureau of the 18th CPC Central Committee. Driving the reform of the judicial system to a deeper level and building a fair, efficient, and authoritative socialist judicial system are key measures in improving state governance and modernizing the governing capability. Judicial justice concerns the people's immediate interests, social fairness and justice, and the implementation of the rule of law. We must ensure the correct political direction of judicial system reform, focus on improving the credibility of the judiciary, start from the prevailing situation in our country, and follow the law of judicial development. We must focus on solving problems, be resolute in overcoming difficulties, master strength and confidence, and forge ahead with determination, so as to firmly push forward a deeper level reform of the judicial system and enhance social fairness and justice. Our country's judicial system was established by the people under party leadership and developed through a long period of practice. Generally speaking, it suits our national conditions and socialist system. Different factors, however, have led to problems in judicial activities such as miscarriage of justice, unjust and misjudged cases, judicial corruption, and cases manipulated by money, power, and personal favor. Left unresolved, these problems will seriously interfere with the thorough implementation of the rule of law and have an adverse effect on social fairness and justice. Since the 18th National Congress of the CPC, the Central Committee has attached great importance to judicial reform and has made significant progress in implementing reform measures. In the areas of building socialist rule of law with Chinese features, building a socialist country by the rule of law, and safeguarding social fairness and justice. The judiciary is an important component of the superstructure. Reforming the judicial system means improving and developing our judiciary and following the path of the socialist rule of law. Party leadership is the fundamental guarantee of socialist rule of law and the defining feature and political strength of our judicial system. Deeper level reform of the judiciary and improving judicial administration and the exercise of judicial power must be conducted under the unified leadership of the party by upholding and improving our judicial system, while the party assumes a leading and core role in exercising overall leadership and coordinating the efforts of all. Adjudication and procuratorial organs should perform their duties in accordance with the law and do their work accordingly. We reform the judiciary for the people, through the people, and to the benefit of the people. In the end, it is the people who can make the final judgment on the results of reform and the credibility of the judiciary. The judiciary is the final line of defense in safeguarding social fairness and justice, and fairness is the soul and life of the judiciary. To conduct deeper reform of the judicial system, we must listen carefully to the people and know their expectations. We must also go to the front line of the judicial practice for first-hand information. The success of reform lies in the number of problems solved and whether the people are satisfied with the solutions. Special attention must be paid to judicial accountability. All registered judges and prosecutors must work in court and take lifelong responsibility for cases they handle. Judges and prosecutors have the power of trial and judgment, and they should work under constant scrutiny, exercising their power within the proper limits. They should be supervised by the law, by society, and by public opinion, and must do honest and upright things justly, selflessly, and conscientiously. Footnote 1. Lu Kun. Groans from my sickbed, Shun Yen Yu. Lu Kun, 1536 to 1618, was a writer and thinker of the Ming Dynasty. End of footnote 1. Judicial power must be caged by the system. Let fairness and justice shine on the people, and let the people see concrete results of reform. Judicial reform must progress in line with our fundamental political system, basic political system, and the level of economic and social development. We must maintain our country's features and strengths. We should learn from beneficial foreign experience, but cannot blindly copy their judicial systems. When improving and reforming our judiciary, we must follow the objective rules of judicial activities and make sure that power and responsibility are integrated, power is checked, openness and fairness are achieved, and procedures are followed. Reform of the judiciary concerns the overall situation, and we must strengthen top-level design and drive top-down reform in an orderly fashion. To promote institutional innovation, we should always deal with reality and carry out reform in light of the conditions of judicial organs in different areas and at different levels. Solving problems is the focus of our work and should be targeted by reform. We must address the major problems and key issues affecting judicial justice and restricting judicial capacity and make reforms pertinent and effective. The task of reforming the judiciary, defined at the third and fourth plenary sessions of the 18th CPC Central Committee, is a mandatory goal and must be implemented in full. The Commission for Political and Legal Affairs of the CPC Central Committee and relevant units should develop a sound plan regarding the timing, form, and momentum of various reforms and adopt concrete and pragmatic measures to the satisfaction of the people. Organs under the Commission for Political and Legal Affairs must take the lead in designing institutions and plans, and in issuing support measures by taking into consideration the overall development of the cause of the party and the state, and the fundamental interests of the people. Provincial authorities and central departments must give full support to judicial reform and implement their plans and tasks. Evaluations should be strengthened on those reform measures that have been put into practice, and experience should be summed up in a timely fashion. We must pay attention to emerging and potential problems and problems that suggest a bad trend, and do our best to solve them. We must work harder to pool our strength, mobilize all positive factors, and form a powerful force to give further impetus to reform. The rule of law and the rule of virtue. December 9th, 2016. Main points of the speech at the 37th Group Study Session of the Political Bureau of the 18th CPC Central Committee. Law is a system of rules that we must comply with at all times. Virtue is the foundation of society that should never be allowed to dissipate. In this new era, we should implement the rule of law as the fundamental strategy for governing the country and law-based exercise of state power as the basic approach to governance. To achieve these, we need to integrate the rule of law with the rule of virtue so that they complement and reinforce each other in promoting the modernization of our national governance system and capacity. Law is a set of virtues in writing. Virtue represents the law in one's inner world. Both function to regulate people's conduct and social relations and maintain social order, yet each plays a different role in national governance. Law ensures social stability, while virtue nourishes the mind. Effective law enforcement depends on the good practice of virtue, while virtue must work within legal restraints. The rule of law and the rule of virtue are inseparable and must be balanced and coordinated for better national governance. Since the adoption of reform and opening up, we have summarized our experience and lessons learned in building a law-based socialist country and decided to make the rule of law our party's fundamental strategy in leading the people to govern our country and law-based exercise of state power, our party's basic approach to governance, blazing a path of Chinese socialist rule of law. This path is marked by the integration of the rule of law with the rule of virtue, placing equal importance on both. Choosing this path is the result of a thorough review of lessons learned from the past and a clear understanding of the laws of governance. We should reinforce ethical support for the rule of law. To integrate the rule of law with the rule of virtue, we need to give play to the role of ethics and enhance the ethical standards of the whole of society, laying a sound foundation for promoting the rule of law in all respects. The rule of law should be reflected in our ethical framework so that ethics may provide more nourishment to the development of the law. We should make sure that they are connected and coordinated and reinforce each other. Ethical education should be carried out with a view to fostering the public's faith in the legal system and enhancing their understanding of the rule of law and rule consciousness. We should guide the public to develop their consciousness to fulfill legal obligations and responsibilities towards society and family, developing a culture of respecting and following the rule of law. Ethics should also be included in the development of the rule of law, which provides strong institutional support for disseminating ethical concepts. Laws and regulations must establish clear ethical guidelines to promote virtue and righteousness. Socialist, ethical standards and core values should be embodied throughout the legislation, law enforcement, and judicial process so that socialist rule of law is equipped with a sound legal system and a sensible governance system. Well-developed ethical standards that have been widely recognized and can be applied to the whole of society should be developed into laws and regulations in a timely manner in order to strengthen the public's pursuit of virtue. We must enforce the law strictly and advocate the virtuous and the good, and punish the false and the evil. We should administer justice impartially, and every judgment ruled in court should demonstrate this spirit. Legal means should be used to solve serious ethical problems. Law marks the bottom line of ethics and serves as the guarantee for ethics. Therefore, we must improve legislation by including well-defined sanctions against unethical behavior. We must take legal actions against unethical deeds that are of grave concern to the public. To address the pressing issue of honesty, we should hasten to build a kind of honesty record system covering the whole society and establish mechanisms for rewarding law-abiding and honest behavior and punishing illegal and dishonest behavior to deter and prevent people from falling into dishonesty. We must intensify law enforcement efforts to punish illegal profit seeking and counterfeiting, and bring those unethical law breakers to justice. We should raise public awareness of the rule of law and ethical consciousness. Only by establishing the public's faith in the legal system can the law function properly. Only by improving the ethical standards of the whole of society can ethics be observed. Enhancing publicity and education on the rule of law will help foster public awareness of the concept and inspire faith in and respect for the Constitution and law. Enhancing public ethics will help promote traditional Chinese virtues and raise the ethical and moral standards of the public. We should remain committed to strengthening public legal awareness and law observance, laying the groundwork for the rule of law and helping all members of society become advocates and defenders of socialist rule of law who voluntarily observe this principle. By continuing public ethical programs and activities for promoting public ethical progress, we work to increase the public's consciousness of putting the core socialist values into practice, foster virtue in society, and encourage citizens to practice socialist ethics and advocate virtue. Officials must play a key role in implementing the rule of law and the rule of virtue. They should serve as the main organizers and driving forces of comprehensive law-based governance and active advocates and role models of enhancing public ethics. As officials' exemplary role in studying and observing the law is key to realizing the rule of law, they should study the law on a regular basis and set rules for such activities. Moral cultivation as a basis for building a good reputation and winning the public's trust is a crucial factor contributing to the development of officials. They must take the lead in enhancing ethics and practicing the core socialist values. Furthermore, they should follow the party spirit, observe high ethical standards, and set good examples of caring for family members, providing suitable ethical education for their children, and pursuing a wholesome lifestyle. Officials must maintain the noble character and political integrity of communists, and, through their concrete actions, motivate the public to pursue virtue and respect and observe the law. Governing the party with strict discipline. Be a good party secretary. January 12th, 2015. Speech at the meeting with a class of county party secretaries at the Central Party School. Comrades, it is a pleasure to be here at this discussion. I have been paying close attention to county-level work. I was told by the organization department of the CPC Central Committee that you are studying at the Central Party School, and a meeting was proposed. My reply was that we should not only meet, but also sit down and talk, so that I can hear what you have learned and understand what you are thinking. You are all at the forefront of working for reform, development, and stability, and you know about the real situation locally. It is helpful to talk with you. We have just celebrated the new year. I would like to wish a happy new year to you and also to all secretaries of county party committees and party members and officials working at the county level. You have done a good job. Thank you. It was the Party Central Committee's decision to arrange this study program for county party secretaries. Over the next 3 years, 2,800 secretaries from all counties, cities, districts, and banners will be trained at the Central Party School. This is a strategic move with long-term significance. The goal is to help county party secretaries better understand and hence better implement the decisions made at our party's 18th National Congress and the third and fourth plenary sessions of the 18th Central Committee. You will study the theories of Chinese socialism, focus on theoretical and practical problems in social and economic development and party development in your counties. Be armed with and then guide your work with the party's latest theories so that we can have a highly qualified cohort of county party secretaries. I was myself a county party secretary with first-hand experience of the functions and operation of a county-level party committee. Hearing the speeches of 6 county party secretaries just now, I was deeply impressed. Memories of my office as a county party secretary came flooding back. It was like going back 30 years in time. I can relate to what you feel. The county party secretary is an important post. It is not a high office, but it comes with great responsibilities and huge pressure. Not an easy job. Counties are a key link in our party's setup and state power, an important basis for developing the economy, ensuring people's well-being, and maintaining and promoting the enduring peace and stability of our country. One of our ancestors said, "When the counties are governed, the country is at peace." In China, counties first appeared in the spring and autumn period, 770 to 476 BC, and the system of prefectures and counties was consolidated and developed in the Qin dynasty, 221 to 206 BC. For more than 2,000 years, counties have been the basic unit of our country's state structure and have continued to exist until this very day. All past dynasties made it a priority to select and appoint county-level officials. Ancient Chinese long ago realized that prime ministers must have served as local officials, and great generals must have risen from the ranks. Footnote 1, Han Fei Zi. End of footnote 1. Looking back, quite a few well-known figures started their political careers at county level. Wang Anshi, a northern Song 960 to 1127 statesman, was appointed magistrate of Yinxian County, today's Yenzhou District, Ningbo City, of Zhejiang Province at the age of 27. During his 3-year office, Wang achieved remarkable results in governance and was widely praised by the people, laying a foundation for the reforms he later introduced. In the Qing dynasty, 1616 to 1911, Zheng Banqiao served long terms as magistrate in Fanxiang County in Hainan Province and Weixian County of Shandong Province. One of his poems goes, "When I hear the rustles of bamboo leaves outside my study, I feel it is the wails of hungry people. For petty county officials like us, every concern of the people weighs in our heart." Footnote 2. Zhengban Qiao. Bamboos painted at the Weixian County government to Inspector Bao Ko. Weixian Chu Zhang Hua Zhou Cheng Nian Bo Bao Da Zhang Cheng Ko. Zhengban Qiao, 1693 to 1765, was a painter and writer of the Qing dynasty. End of footnote 2. Tao Yuan Ming, 365 to 427, Di Renzhi, 630 to 700, Bao Zheng, 999 to 1062, Hai Rui, 1514 to 1587, and many other officials of integrity were all once county magistrates during different periods in history. A county is basically a society. It may be small, but it has everything needed. With their responsibilities growing and becoming more diversified, county governments now play an important role in building a moderately prosperous society in all respects, in driving reform to a deeper level, in implementing the rule of law, and in strengthening party discipline. Though not a high-ranking post, county party secretaries are special in our system of governance. Deng Xiaoping once said, "To be a good secretary of a county party committee isn't easy. You must have broad experience as a leader and be able to administer the work all over the county and in all fields, including party, government, mass organizations, and military, cultural, and educational affairs." Footnote 3. Deng Xiaoping. Things must be put in order in all fields. Selected works of Deng Xiaoping, Volume 2, English edition, Foreign Languages Press, Beijing, 1994, page 49. End of footnote 3. He also said, "Special consideration should be given to the selection of the top leadership at the county party committee level. It is very important to establish strong county party committees. As a regiment is a level of the army, a county is a level of government. That is why we always talk about county and regiment levels." Footnote 4. An interjection made by Deng Xiaoping at a national meeting on work in rural areas on October 4th, 1975, included in Chronicle of Deng Xiaoping, 1975 to 1997, Volume 1, Chinese edition, Central Party Literature Publishing House, Beijing, 2004, page 107. End of footnote 4. When Hai Rui said that the most difficult office was that of a magistrate, he was referring to one at the county level. Footnote 5. Hai Rui. Cautionary Reminders. Ling Zhen. Hai Rui, 1514 to 1587, was an official of the Ming dynasty. End of footnote 5. So what makes a good county party secretary? In the speeches just now, some of you mentioned that one should be clear-minded in one's political convictions and be a paving stone for green development, a down-to-earth practitioner of close ties with the people, a pioneering leader of the local team, and a blacksmith that hammers hard in observing party discipline. Nice analogy. In my opinion, Jiao Yu Lu, 1922 to 1964, set an example for all secretaries of county party committees. I have visited Lanzhou County many times, twice last year during the second phase of the Mass Line Education Program. I am moved every time I set foot on the soil of Lan Cao. Jiao, through his actions, has set a glorious example for party members and county party secretaries. If you are a county party secretary, be one like Jiao Yulu. How can you be a county party secretary like him? There are answers from many angles. Today, I want to talk about it from 4 angles. Be loyal to the party, be of service to the people, be aware of responsibilities, and be strict with discipline. 1. Be loyal to the party. County party committees are the frontline command of governance for our party, and the secretaries are the commanders-in-chief. Loyalty to the party is an important criterion for county party secretaries. There could be many more standards for evaluation, but loyalty is central, as the greatest virtue is none other than loyalty. Footnote 6. Ma Rong, Classic of Loyalty, Zhongjing. Ma Rong, 79 to 166, was an economist of the Eastern Han Dynasty. End of footnote 6. Our county party secretaries are by and large good, with the majority being trustworthy. There is no doubt about this. We must see, nonetheless, that they face many daunting tests in the post, the test of a heavy workload to promote reform, development, and stability, the test of ensuring people's well-being and improving their lives, the test of resisting all kinds of defective thinking and the temptations of power, money, and sex, the test of rejecting base and unhealthy practices known as the clandestine rules, to name a few. It should be particularly noted that with great power of office, county party chiefs are an easy target for all kinds of temptation, plots, flattery, and excessive praise, with an aim to topple you. In many counties far away from the center, when higher-level supervision is distant, party secretaries tend to have the final say. For those working in remote areas without loyalty to the party as an anchor of faith, there is a real danger that they fail one of the above-mentioned tests. A county government must be guarded by someone loyal to the party. All county party secretaries must remember that you are the county party secretaries of the CPC and that it is the party that sent you there to be in charge. It is easy enough to say, but not so easy to bear in mind. You must always follow the correct political direction. Always remember you are part of the organizations. Always think of yourself as someone who belongs to the party, and never forget your obligations and responsibilities towards the party. You must trust the party organization, rely on it, follow its orders, and conscientiously safeguard its unity and solidarity. Only with firm ideals and convictions, and only with loyalty to the party, can one build a sound base of political philosophy. It is not possible for someone with wavering convictions to be loyal to the party. You should master the theories of Marxism as basic knowledge, diligently study Marxism-Leninism, Mao Zedong thought, Deng Xiaoping theory, the theory of 3 represents, the scientific outlook on development, and the theoretical innovations since the party's 18th National Congress in 2012. Make a greater effort to understand these theories and make sure you gain something from your studies. You should focus on forming a worldview and an outlook on life and values and be genuinely committed, persistent, and faithful to Marxism. Communism is not as simple as a meal of goulash, and it cannot be attained easily. But we cannot dismiss it as an illusion or choose not to be a loyal communist just because there is a long way to go. Our revolutionary ideals are of supreme importance. Communism is the ultimate ideal of communists, and it needs generations of strenuous efforts to achieve. If we all see it as no more than an illusion, if we deem it unworthy of hard work and sacrifice, communism will never come. What we do today in upholding and developing Chinese socialism is the real effort towards the ultimate ideal. It is true that neither our country nor our people are prosperous enough, and that there are many problems challenging our development. As county party secretaries, you have surely seen many problems that reflect our realities. But no matter what challenges we face, we must stand our ground and remain convinced that Chinese socialism will succeed. On key matters of principle such as the path, theories, and system of Chinese socialism, we must be firm in our stance and resolute in our action. Only when county party secretaries, our frontline commanders-in-chief, are firm and committed, only when they strive together towards our ultimate goal, can we hold our ground, achieve success, and turn our ideals into reality. Always remember you are a member of the party, and this is not an abstract but a concrete requirement. As officials of the party, no matter where you work and what post you take, you should strengthen awareness of the party and of political guidelines so as to stand turbulence and tests and avoid taking a wrong path politically. You must strictly abide by our political discipline, follow the correct political direction, position, views, and conduct, follow the party's leadership, act in unity with the party central committee, and safeguard the authority of the party's central leadership. What the central committee advocates, you must act upon. What the central committee decides, you must implement. And what the central committee prohibits, you must not do. You must never allow local policies to trump central policies, never countenance the sidelining of central decrees or prohibitions, never engage in perfunctory enforcement of the central leadership's policy decisions and plans. Any occurrence of such problems must be resolutely addressed when it arises. 2. Be of service to the people. Serving the people wholeheartedly is the basic principle of our party. County party secretaries are in direct contact with the people, so you must bear in mind the interests of the people and work for their well-being. You should always care for the people and be the first to worry about county affairs and the last to enjoy yourselves. You must not seek personal gain, and you should selflessly act in the public interest. You should take lightly such things as reputation, position, and interests, and never be calculating in pursuit of these. What you should do, instead, is address the most pressing and relevant problems that are of the utmost concern to the people, especially the problems that the people complain about, and address them promptly. Now, we are only 5 to 6 years away from the deadline for achieving our first centenary goal, but there are still many people and areas stricken by poverty. We must waste no time in development-oriented poverty alleviation and never allow these people and areas to fall further behind. Poverty alleviation is a key task for the party and the state. Officials at all levels in impoverished areas must be fully committed to the task and lead the people to shake off poverty through hard work. If an official does not act on the people's behalf, he would be better going back home and selling sweet potatoes, a folk saying goes. An example I have mentioned on many occasions is Gu Wencheng, Party Committee Secretary of Dongshan County, Fujian Province, in the 1950s and 60s. He gave his all in service of the people, who respected him so much that they paid tribute to him before worshiping their family ancestors. In the post of county party secretary, many of you are ambitious to succeed. You should be. When I was in Zhengzheng, I could see that the people led a hard life due to the poor local economy. I was worried and felt an urge to change the situation as quickly as possible. But firstly, one must have a correct understanding of what one can achieve in office and choose to do the things that the people want to be done and avoid doing the things that the people disapprove of. Footnote 7. Book of Rights, Li Ji. End of footnote 7. You must be dedicated to your work in a down-to-earth, realistic, and pragmatic manner, and make solid and tangible efforts. You should work in the people's interests, and never indulge in wasteful showcase projects to prop up your own image. Different counties have different resources and features. We must always research and investigate. Go to the villages, go to the people, find out the real situation, and collect ideas from the people. I said this before. A county party secretary must visit all the villages under his jurisdiction, a city party secretary all towns and townships under his jurisdiction, and a provincial party secretary all counties, cities, and districts under his jurisdiction. In Zhending, I often cycled to the villages, pedaling from the north bank of the Hutuo River to a people's commune on the south bank. I had to carry my bike every time I neared the river. It was not easy, but that way I got to know the real situation and became close to the villagers and local officials. With the situation clear, we should proceed to make plans for development so that the proposed measures and plans are in line with reality and do not aim too high. You must make key decisions and plans, especially important policies and measures in the immediate interests of the people, after widely soliciting their opinions. This is obligatory. To be of service to the people requires good conduct. At the county level, the party secretary sets the example for the local party committee and the government. The people judge our party by judging the county leadership, particularly the party secretary. Bad conduct by a party secretary will tarnish the party's image in the eyes of the locals. You must follow the requirements of the Central Committee, continue to improve conduct, consolidate the achievements of the Mass Line Education Program, be diligent and pragmatic in your work, work for the people's interests, and fight the four malfeasances of going through the motions, excessive bureaucracy, self-indulgence, and extravagance. 3. Be aware of responsibilities. Avoiding responsibilities is the greatest disgrace for an official. Footnote 8. Yuan Hao Wen, Poem of Four Sorrows, C.I. Shi. Yuan Hao Wen, 1190 to 1257, was a writer and historian of the Jin dynasty. 1115 to 1234, end of footnote 8. Being an official requires you to take on responsibilities because it determines how far you can go and how much you can achieve in your career. You cannot think only of seeking office while avoiding any actual work, only of wielding power while avoiding responsibility, and only of making a show while avoiding any real effort. A county leadership is responsible for promoting reform, development, and stability for hundreds of thousands of, or even up to 1 million people, and also for managing a myriad of affairs. This is a large enough stage. As you have just said, this petty post comes with great responsibilities. The party put you in this post because you are trusted with great responsibility, and you should devote yourself with passion. As long as you are in office, you should work to benefit your people. There must be change for the better in your county during your office, and stagnation must not happen. Taking on responsibilities means fulfilling one's office diligently. Decisions and plans must be executed in full, and one must see things through from beginning to end to ensure that no one simply goes through the motions or treats plans as a temporary measure, like a passing gust of wind. On most occasions, a county party secretary serves only a few years, but you should not see it as a temporary job. Knowing they will not be there long, some officials, once on the job, seek to show their capability with ornate achievements to pave the way to promotion. This is wrong. If plans change every few years, a county will achieve little of substance. Instead, one should be open-minded about achievements. A good plan, as long as it is feasible, pragmatic, and answers to the people's needs, should be passed down from one term of office to the next. In a windswept location in the Mu-Yuz Desert, Ordos Desert, Youyu County of Shanxi Province is a barren land, battered by sandstorms, and with minimal natural resources. In the early days of the People's Republic, the county's first party secretary led the people to initiate an afforestation project to curb encroachment by the sand. For over 60 years, following the same plan for the same goal, and term after term, the county party committee has been dedicated to this strenuous effort, elevating the greening rate from just 0.3% when the program began to 53% today, and turning this once barren land into an oasis. No matter what we do, we must have this kind of patience and endurance in order to reap long-term benefits. There are many reasons for success, and hard work is the main factor. Most of our officials are able to take on their responsibilities, but we do have a few who are content with the status quo and are perfunctory in their work. To avoid risk, they would rather keep to the status quo and a false sense of stability. This is wrong. In the face of difficulties at work, one must be brave and confront them head on. We must seek solutions to problems, go all out, and be the vanguard that leads the people in overcoming risks and challenges. Now, in the face of an economic new normal, to maintain the sustainable and healthy development of our economy and society, we must transform the growth model and adjust the economic structure. We must apply an innovation-driven development strategy and boost the synchronized development of new industrialization, information technology application, urbanization, and agricultural modernization. The county-level government plays an important role in completing these tasks. How do we start? What specifically is to be done? We must think hard and act fast. To drive reform to a deeper level, county-level authorities must not wait or hesitate in deciding what to do and what can be done. You should focus on the problems and act accordingly. County-level authorities face social problems at close range, and county party secretaries stand at the forefront of maintaining social stability. You must fulfill your duties diligently. The incidents in Wang'an, Menglian, and Longnan in recent years have shown that behind problems and emergencies are complex clashes of interest, misconduct by officials, and improper handling of affairs. You are the ones responsible for dealing with such problems, and you should act and resolve the problems rather than shrinking from them and shirking your responsibilities. Problems are to be discovered early and addressed before they get bigger. In cases of public emergency, you must not fear, but keep a cool head and take control. You should be there at critical moments, take command on the spot, and act decisively. 4. Be strict with discipline. Our power is granted by the party and the people. It is exercised to serve the party and the people, and must be used in the public interest, to help the party govern, to work for the nation, and to benefit the people. We must properly use the power of office in accordance with the law, in a fair manner, and for clean governance. Use power to fulfill your statutory duties, and never abuse power beyond the scope of your responsibility. We must act conscientiously as if we were treading on thin ice and standing on the edge of an abyss. There must be a barrier to limit us in what we say and do, and we must properly handle the relationships between public and private interests, personal favors and the law, and interests and the law. The county party secretary is the head of the county leadership. You should take the lead in enforcing democratic centralism and avoid becoming a monarch. Decision-making should follow the procedures, and key issues involving money, program, and personnel should go through the leadership group. Autocracy must be avoided. You should be skilled at pooling the wisdom of the party committee, other branches of county leadership, and officials at all levels. You should assume overall leadership, but not take on every detail, divide duties, but not undermine concerted efforts, and delegate duties, but not totally let go. You should be open-minded, listen to the opinions of other members of the leadership, and maintain and improve unity of the party committee. Unity here does not mean keeping on good terms with everybody, and harmony does not mean papering over cracks. On issues of principle, you must take the correct position, dare to speak your mind, and be clear about your position. At the fourth plenary session of the 18th CPC Central Committee, it was proposed that we will press forward with the rule of law and build a law-based socialist country. The roots of the rule of law go down to the villages and counties. County party secretaries should be role models in studying, abiding by, and applying the laws, and should be adept at planning for local governance with the rule of law. You must always remember that the red line of the law is not to be crossed, and the principles of the law are not to be violated. In decision-making and planning, you must make sure that measures are feasible, that they do not contravene the law, that they are supported by the law, and that they follow statutory procedures. We must think about the consequences of violating the law so as to conscientiously promote and safeguard the rule of law. Clean governance and self-discipline are the principles for communists in official positions. I have often said this. You cannot have your cake and eat it. You must choose between office and riches, and choose only one. Once in office, you must always discipline yourselves, resist the temptations of power, money, and sex, and be upright, clean, and honest in governance. You should extend your education to your own family and immediate staff and restrain their conduct, ensuring that they respect the requirements of morality, discipline, and the law. Jiao Yu Lu drafted 10 no's for officials, banning officials from special treatment at all times. Once, when he heard that his son had not paid for a show, he ordered his son to send the money to the theater. Zhang Boxing, hailed as the number one clean official under the heaven by Qing Emperor Kangxi. Footnote 9. Footnote 9. Emperor Kangxi, 1654 to 1722, ruled the Qing dynasty from 1661 to 1722. End of footnote 9. Said, taking a thread of silk and a grain of rice from the people damages my reputation. Every coin comes from their hard labor. A bit of leniency on my side will benefit the people more than one could think. If I take a coin from the people, I am not worth one myself. Footnote 10. Zhang Boxing, ban on gifts, Jin Zhi, Kui Song Shi. End of footnote 10. These words in support of clean governance are still applicable today, and you should reflect on them. The county party secretary, a public figure with power in the county, should uphold morality and integrity, as moral degeneration can do more damage than mistakes at work. In ancient times, county magistrates were required to encourage and promote good conduct. You must conscientiously foster and practice core socialist values, strengthen morality and self-cultivation, develop healthy hobbies, be cautious in the friends you make, and examine your own conduct in life in order to build healthy social trends in the county. You should further understand and carry forward the fine traditions of our ancestors, as exemplified in these quotations, to guide our action. When the great way rules, the land under heaven belongs to the people. Footnote 11, Book of Rights, Li Ji. End of footnote 11. Fortune and riches obtained through unjust means are like floating clouds for me. Footnote 12. The Analects of Confucius, Lun Yu. End of footnote 12. A man of virtue has a good knowledge of righteousness. Footnote 13, Ibid. End of footnote 13. Be true in word and resolute in deed. Footnote 14, Ibid. End of footnote 14. A man of high moral quality will never feel lonely. Footnote 15, Ibid. End of footnote 15. If a man does not keep his word, what is he good for? Footnote 16, Ibid. End of footnote 16. Comrades, you have only a few days left at this class for county party secretaries. I hope you can apply what you have learned here in your work to good effect and work harder for the continual development of your counties. And finally, I would like to wish you good luck at work, good health, and happy life for your families.